Pixel Realms is now live. This is episode 32, when mods become better than the game. Join us as we talk about how the modding community has improved upon and sometimes even kept the game alive as well, or made it even better. As always, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Joe, we've got news today, a little bit. There were a bunch of gaming shows with not a lot happening despite being days and hours of content.
You were definitely more excited about the game show than I ever.
I just get
remotely
excited
close of.
about I just get excited about the shows, you know? It's always fun to see what's new and what's coming. It's just a shame that there just really hasn't been a lot the last couple of years have been really, disappointing, honestly.
I think like the midday or the mid-year stuff isn't always great to begin with, especially after we lost what was it called?
E3.
E3. Thank you.
But
Once we
see,
lost
this
E3,
was E3 though. This was the new E3. Jeff Keighley wanted to keep E3 alive, and that's why we have the Summer Game Fest. That's where the future gaming show come in, the PC gaming show. You know, the only company that doesn't participate at all anymore is Nintendo, because they do their own thing, and we see how well Nintendo's doing. Blech.
well, to
But
be fair, we picked on Nintendo quite a bit with the Switch 2, and apparently a lot of people can just go into a local Target,
is that good or
Walmart,
bad
or
though?
whatever. Well, it could be both, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, but the thing is like you're going in and you're buying the Switch 2 for one game. Nothing has come out. Nothing is coming out right now that warrants you buying a $500 system. Let alone when it was like 300 bucks and it was worth the price, and it came out with games, within like a month or two. But you had a Zelda first day. You had Mario Kart, etc. No, this is just buy the Switch, Mario Kart. That's it.
Yeah, I don't. I
Anyways, whatever.
Yeah. So in the
I,
news, we have some games that had been announced that at least were somewhat interesting. The new
I'm
James
very
Bond
excited
game.
about the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Double O
new
Seven First Light.
Yeah, this is the first Bond game in a long while, and everyone is a big fan of the one that was released back on the N64.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Obviously,
It's
it could be crap, or it could be just as good as.
no. I'm sorry.
Well,
I don't
okay.
think it's gonna be crap. It's made by the Hitman people. It is a Hitman style 007 game. It is starring, a young James Bond who has not yet become that seasoned veteran that likes his martini shaken, not stirred, and kisses every woman that he sees. This is a very moldable character, a very different take on James Bond. And Hitman, the Hitman franchise is already an established thing. Everyone knows how Hitman plays, and this is a Hitman style game. So you don't want anyone better than them making this game. I just don't see it possibly doing badly unless the writing's bad. And I don't know.
I don't know. Anything's possible.
Until it gets, yeah,
No
that's fair.
studio. I can't pass any studio right now that they'll be successful, no matter what the name of the studios. We think of Witcher. With Project CD Project
Yep.
Red. We
That
had an impressive
fair
Witcher
point.
3, and then Cyberpunk came out, and bam, trash. So
It
it
is a
could
fair point.
happen. Just because they did something good in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen again.
Yeah, Silent Hill F is coming out in September 25th. I'm not a horror game fan. I'm not a fan of the franchise, but Silent Hill is a beloved series. So, and in anything, Silent Hill is going to cause people to be excited.
Oh yeah, yeah. This one is interesting. I used to play a lot of the Thief games back in the old day, and then they had rebooted Thief, what, a decade ago or so, and that was a fun game. But they're switching things up, and they're bringing it to VR for the PlayStation VR 2, which is surprising because I didn't think their VR was doing so well. So to have an exclusive title, unless it's eventually going to come to like the Quest and PC.
Maybe it could be their attempt to try and keep it alive a little bit longer. Oh, I want to move this next piece of news to last
Yeah.
since it's so important. Um,
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 9 Requiem has been announced. It looks like it's going to be more of a Resident Evil 7 style game. It's featuring it's kind of going back to being a little bit more creepy than
Which I
actiony.
like. I love the creepiness.
I don't. I again, I'm not a fan of horror games. I'm not a fan of horror movies. To me, the horror genre was great when you had Freddy and Jason, and when you had like Chucky and some of them, where they had a little bit. You could have a little bit of the nonsensical humor that where you're like, you're not supposed to laugh at it, but the way it's delivered is kind of funny. But then they still turn around, and they scare the shit out of you with their things. And then horror just became a gore.
Yeah.
It became about shocking people. It became about being gory, and that's just not scary to me. That's just disgusting to me. What's not disgusting to me, what makes me really, really, really excited is Persona 4 Revival. It's most likely going to be a complete remake, just like Persona 3. It is a beloved game by a ton of people. When it was re-released a couple years ago as just a direct port, people were excited. So getting a full-on remake is, something big, is big news to at least RPG and JRPG fans like myself. I know you're not a fan of JRPGs and whatnot. This one's a murder mystery type game. This particular the storyline of this game is more murder mystery. So if you like, kind of like solving a murder, or the instances behind the murder, this might be something that you could give a try and find out if like maybe you'll like it.
Yeah. It's something I'll look into. I've never really followed the Persona series too much. I've heard really good things
Yeah,
and successful and all that, but we've talked about before. We all have our different game styles that we
yeah,
prefer, and this is just one. I'm not. You're not big into horror games. I'm not big into the JRPG kind of stuff.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, no, sorry. Finish your stuff. Your
that's all I had for that. And you want to do the
so
last news, the big important one?
yeah. I have to. I have to. I have to. I am so excited, ladies and gentlemen, to announce that Bloodborne has not been announced still again.
Oh, he had us going,
Yeah,
man. He had us going.
yeah, just like every PlayStation state of play that happens where we all think maybe this will be the time that we get a Bloodborne announcement. I keep forgetting that, in a company, in a world where making money is very important to a business like the video game industry, that Sony is so rich and so awesome that they don't need money. They're not struggling at all in any department, and they just don't want to make money. And I don't blame them. Like, why would you need to make money if you're already filthy, stinking rich and super successful?
The thing though is
LOL.
Sony like continues to they had to sell off a bunch of their divisions as a company because they weren't
Yeah.
profitable. Their only profitability is consoles, and why not take full advantage of it instead of partial advantage of it like they are currently?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I'm so frustrated with Sony because, like, I don't like Souls games. I've said this a million times. I'm not a huge Soul person, but this game is one that I kind of would like to play because I think maybe I would be into. And they just no, no, we don't give a shit.
I'm thinking we might actually see a new Half-Life game before we ever see a Bloodborne game.
Uh, that's the one bet I won't take because yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
All right, on to our episode, which is mods. Not like mods in Discords, but when mods become better than the game. And there are a lot of communities that are heavily driven with mods. So many. And obviously we want to start off the bat with the top dog, and I feel that, well, it's gonna be the top two dogs. This top
Woof.
one, yeah, is probably, if it wasn't for the mods, this game probably wouldn't be on every single console known to mankind, and that is
Oh.
Skyrim.
Now coming to the smart refrigerator,
It
Skyrim.
it's going to continue growing. It's going to be on smart watches and everything eventually, right? But like, so Skyrim is super moddable, and people have
Thomas the
taken,
Tank.
oh yeah, people have taken like Oblivion and placed it inside Skyrim, which is
Yeah.
crazy to think. So there are countless millions of different mods to stories, to graphics, to sounds, to the environments, to the gameplay itself. There are a trillion different mods out there, and that is, I feel, what keeps Skyrim alive. Now, I haven't played many mods with Skyrim. There's like one mod that makes it so up to date with graphics that there doesn't need to be a remaster of it. Almost like Oblivion, there's a mod for that too.
Hey, you know, it's funny you say that because I'm playing the new Oblivion, and I was thinking about playing Skyrim after I finished Oblivion, and that mod where it makes it more, where it updates the graphics and whatnot, is probably one that I might look at before I even potentially play the game. I don't know, man. Are you excited for when Skyrim finally comes out and it's directly downloaded into our brain and we're just playing it in our sleep? Like we close our eyes and the Skyrim screen's there and we're playing the game. Like it's just gonna be amazing. Like
Yeah.
just directly deal the direct brain download DLC is just gonna be amazing. What's also amazing to me is the amount of mod packs that are in Minecraft.
Oh yeah.
Nobody plays vanilla Minecraft anymore, just about. I can give you an example. I was thinking about playing Minecraft again, and there is a, you know me, I'm heavily into VTubers, etc.
Hmm.
Well, one of the companies that I watch, they're a company of talent, and they commissioned a special mod pack for their specific server, and so you know it was exclusive to just them and the friends they invited, and then they released the mod pack so anyone can download the mod pack and play the exact same level of content that they were playing, and it had dungeons to with treasure to loot, special bosses, um, all kinds of stuff. It was crazy, the amount of mods in that thing. I think there was like 100, 200 mods in that fucking mod pack. It's something stupid dumb that they had to hire someone specifically to build the mod pack slash world and make sure that it functions and whatnot.
It is impressive just how long Minecraft has survived, and it also
I know.
is just as impressive, just like we talked about Skyrim, how advanced they have made the graphics. Because
Yeah.
Minecraft's always been about like pixels,
Mm-hmm.
pixel looking graphics, and then people have turned it into full fledged 3D rendered environments that look very lifelike. And
I,
the Minecraft
yeah.
movie came out not too long ago, and so like Minecraft isn't slowing down. If anything, it's increased with value
I
over the time.
It's amazing. I can't even fathom when it first came out and I saw the game and I was like, oh, this game's fine and all, but it's not that great. It's not going to go anywhere, man. I mean, because you know, you and I have been around a long time, and we were both around when Minecraft first came out, even if we didn't directly play it right away. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I played it when it first came out, again, I thought, yeah, this is fine, this is fun, but it got tedious pretty quickly. You know, I would put like a couple days worth of gameplay into Minecraft, and then I would move on because after you build a house 100,000 times and mine 100,000 different of the mines and get down to where lava is and start, and especially once you start like building like at the time the end game armor being like the you know, getting that full diamond set,
Mhm.
you were like, I've done everything. All I gotta do is kill the Ender Dragon, and then I'm
Yeah,
done. Like,
I never really played
um,
much of Minecraft. I played Minecraft Dungeons, which is a what do you call that? Diablo, dungeon crawler type
Yeah,
thing, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one. But in terms of
yeah,
OG Minecraft or even the mod stuff, I maybe put a total of 6 hours my entire life into it.
yeah. I never played much of the modded stuff. I only played vanilla, and I played. I definitely put more than 6 hours in it, but it definitely didn't play it long term. But something that I have played a lot, which surprised me. I believe it's still my most played game on Steam is XCOM 2. The XCOM series is basically mods are a must-have. It almost feels like it's a kind of game where mods are a must-have. The game itself is fine, right? The core game is fine. It has a fine story and whatnot, but mods make some of the gameplay more uh, ascertainable, especially to newer people, maybe less strategically inclined like myself. Um, there are mods for everything to whole other like slew of content that gets kind of unlocked with modding. Different, new enemies, buffed enemies. Your soldiers can be buffed, can be changed. Voice packs, celebrity voice packs. Talking about added skins and weaponry and just modding in that game is almost a necessity. I can't remember the last time I played the game just straight up vanilla. I think I've always had a good 20 to 30 mods bare minimum. Um, to the point that there's a separate launcher just for modded XCOM.
Well, I think it's cool is that with XCOM, it has the Steamworks thing built into it,
Mhm.
and any game that has that is going to be
I love
successful,
that.
in my opinion.
I love it.
Yeah.
Just
Uh,
clicking on it, hitting subscribe, and like that. So there's two ways to play modded XCOM. There's with the launcher, and it's kind of like its own kind of mod pack. But the thing is it'll tell you what mods are working and aren't working, but it doesn't really fix the problem because sometimes the mods don't play well together. And with the Steamworks, it's just that click of subscribe installs it, unsubscribe uninstalls it. It's so much easier to figure out what mod is working with what, at least in my opinion.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Arma 2 and Arma 3. Now, I love FPS, war kind of games, but I never really got into
Mhm.
Arma. Arma's known to be
Same.
super high fidelity in terms
Super
of
realistic.
realistic, yeah.
Hmm.
And I think that's what threw me off is I've jumped into it many different times, try to do submissions, and I can never see the enemy. Like they just take me out
Yep.
instantly.
Arma
And
3.
like that's
I
realistic. It's
remember.
cool. But
Oh yeah,
damn.
I remember listening to interviews with actual soldiers that played Arma 3. And was like, yeah, no, this like almost triggers my PTSD
Oh
because
yeah.
it would remind me of like how real combat can be. Like it's fairly, if I'm not mistaken, and I might be wrong, but this I think Arma 3 and the Arma series in general was one where when the game was being made, that they consulted with with the real military to
Oh, I'm
try and
sure.
and build something similar like to real combat and whatnot. I'm almost positive it's the Arma series that did that.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, that's Arma is the only thing I can think of that's as detailed and lifelike in game
Yes.
form. It I think it took America's Army, which was a game that was funded by the U.S. Army. It took that concept and went full-fledged detail in terms of realism in a video game.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
they knocked it out of the park. It's super modded. There is a billion different things you can do with it, and it's more than just an army war shooter. You can do so much more because of those mods, and I don't think Arma is going to go anywhere because of that. And the developers are like super supportive with their mods.
Oh yeah.
Half Life and Half Life 2. Now, we recently got a Half Life RTX version from Valve themselves, I believe, But there was a modded version of Half-Life. I don't, what was it called? Half-Life Remix or something like that. That
I don't
kind
remember.
of upped the graphics and kind of brought it up to modern day standards. But there are a billion different mods you can get. I don't know if they're Steamworks or not. I think they might be. They must be because they're part of the Gary mod stuff, I think.
Yeah.
But
Half-Life's a
Half-Life,
series I still need to revisit. I still need to visit it. I think I played Half-Life 1 a decade ago and wasn't really feeling it at the time, not because I thought it was a bad game, it just wasn't feeling it at the time because that's sometimes how games are.
oh yeah,
You could love a franchise and be excited for a game, and then you sit down and you play it and not even think that it's bad. It's just that like you just be like, I'm really not in the mood for this right now, and I want to step back and wait and play this when I'm in a better headspace because you don't want it to alter the game
yeah,
and the way mods do.
yep. The next one, I'm sure everyone who is a
Oh
perverted
boy.
young boy like I am, the first mod they downloaded for The Sims was to remove the blurriness of the naked little Sims when they're
Gotta
showering
get
and all
that pa
that.
pa pa.
You gotta get rid of that blurriness.
Woo!
Don't need any of that blur. But yeah, that was one of the first mods I downloaded ever for The Sims. And then, of course, there are people who made mods that actually added on certain features of the human body. It went into further detail that was available. But then, of
Oh
course, there
my.
were many other things they added into it
They
before.
gotta get their explicit woohoos.
Oh yeah, before even
Woohoo!
like before EA ever came out with like the DLC stuff, people were doing all
Uh-huh.
kinds of mods for The Sims. And The Sims, what is it, 4? Is that the recent one, The Sims 4?
Yes.
It's still
Yes.
super popular because not just because of the DLCs that EA crams down your throat, but because of the modding community itself that adds in a lot of the features
The
that some of
modding
these paidware
community,
do.
the modding community for The Sims is the reason why The Sims is still alive.
Yeah.
Sims 4 was very unpopular when it came out, to the point that people were still playing Sims 3
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
refused to play 4.
Well, it was
And
because
I
it was half
honestly,
baked.
yeah, but I honestly believe that the only reason why The Sims is alive today and the reason why Sims 4 even started getting any kind of popularity is the modding community. It's
Yeah.
100% alive because of the modding community. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah. I 100% agree on that one. 100%. Um, we have
Fallout.
Fallout. This is
I
another Bethesda game that is super moddable.
I have a very love-hate relationship with the modding community for Fallout. So it's not the Fallout. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The modding community itself isn't to blame. The way Bethesda games are made is to blame. I've tried modding the shit out of New Vegas, of Fallout 3. Both of those games, super buggy as hell when you mod them. Um, if you don't get the right like packs that play nice to it with each other, you're screwed. Straight up.
Wasn't there a
So
new like big mod that was supposed to come out for Fallout 4 that
I
what happened with that? There
don't,
was some big deal where
I'll be honest.
oh no, I'm thinking of Oblivion. Never mind, never mind. There was like
Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah, there was that big like mod that was being done that would make Oblivion look better and all that, and all of a sudden Bethesda released the
yeah,
remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it.
which that remaster is gorgeous. I hate to say that, but it is. But the modding community and Bethesda go hand in hand. I think that's pretty much a given that anything Bethesda outside of I don't think Starfail has gotten any mods, or if it has, I haven't seen any for it because I'll be honest,
Um,
nobody cares about that game, so no one is probably modding that game.
I think there are some mods
Um,
for it. Yeah, there
Probably.
is.
I
There's
mean,
Star Wars mods. There's a whole bunch of Star Wars mods. You can turn the whole game into Star Wars.
yeah, but that's pretty sad that shows you how bad the game is when everyone just wants to turn the game into something else. But
Well, that just
that's
shows
just my
you that
opinion.
people in a freaking Star Wars game that's open world like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. The next game I don't have a lot of experience with, but I know you said you played a decent amount, right?
Yeah,
Was
City
City
Skies.
Skylines?
Yeah, so I play a lot of City Skylines. It's the
Two
new.
was a failure, right?
Two was a major failure because it was
That's a
optimized like
shame.
garbage, and there wasn't a whole
That's
lot
a
added
shame.
to it. Yeah, but City
That is a shame.
Skylines is a successor of SimCities,
Hmm.
which is another EA game like The Sims,
Oh
and
yeah, the
it
original wasn't. Was it SimCity the original?
yeah, yep, and no, like in City Skyline.
No, like the Sim Cities. Like when the original Sims came out on floppy disk.
Yeah.
Like wasn't
Oh
it
yeah,
Sim
yeah,
City?
yeah, absolutely. Yep. But like, so City Skyline did a lot of good things for its base game. It was very similar to the OG, I think it was SimCity 3, where it was just, about building your city, and there wasn't a bunch of the other crap that they added in eventually to SimCity 4, I think that's what that came out to be, where SimCity 4 changed the entire way that the game was played, and the City Skylines come out and be like, no, let's just, people love the OG game. And then the modding community got involved with it and just blew it up. And to this day, I think there are more people still playing Skylines, the first one, than there is the second one, because primarily of the mods, not just because of the performance issues that the second one has.
Well, let's be real. There's probably more people playing the first one than even bought the second one.
Oh yeah, probably. And the next one is interesting because we're going to compare two different games that are like almost 30, well, what, 20 years apart.
Ugh,
And that is Doom of
I
93
hate you.
and Doom of
I hate
2016.
you so much for reminding me of how old Doom is. I saw 93 and I said, "Oh God, I was 10 years old. Oh God, I was 10 years old. Oh God."
Oh, and to confirm my point, there are 4,000 more people playing the first City Skylines compared to the second one.
Oh man.
And yeah, so the original Doom obviously is super modded. It came out as a shareware. Remember back in the day what those
Mm-hmm.
things were, which is like you get the first like 3 or 4 levels available. But people made their own levels and made it pretty much a fully playable game just with
They're
the
still doing
shareware.
that
They
today.
Wolfenstein and Doom, so which is
Uh,
crazy to think. And
there's still games coming out. Like I think there's a game called Barony. I think that's the name of it. That's like a D&D style game that uses the Doom or the Quake template. It's like Doom and Quake were the two original like modded games where they like people made whole new games just modding like basically modding
yeah,
that the modding was so different from the game that they were able to turn it into a new game and actually license it and make money off of it.
yeah, 100%. And
Craziness.
the same with Doom 2016, as people are able to mod into that one now. Bethesda kind of did lock that one down, so it's a little bit more limited in what you can do with the mods. But nevertheless, it is still pretty impressive the amount of stuff you
Wait,
can
Doom is
do.
Bethesda?
Not sorry, not Bethesda. id,
Thank you, thank you. I was like, wait a minute.
and
If Doom was Bethesda, the game would be a lot buggier.
the big one that only like 3 or 4 people play is let's skip through this real quick.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, no one really plays Grand Theft Auto. It's not the most popular game ever known kind.
I didn't know modding was big for this. I'll be honest.
Like
The
truthfully,
next
or are
two
you joking?
games. No, no. Truthfully, I didn't know
What?
people because I know. Well, because I people don't play GTA 5. People play GTA Online. No one gives a shit about GTA 5.
Yeah,
It's the
5 is where it's
online.
at. 5 has become RP heaven for many people. You can RP
Is it
everything.
5 or is it online or is it
No,
the
5.
online?
5. Yeah, online is locked down from,
Really?
yeah, 2K's side. So 5 people have made RP servers where you hop into the servers and you play, role play, whatever you want to do.
Okay. I
But
was incorrect then. I
yeah,
thought it was the online stuff.
you can, there's fishing mods. There's mods to be police officers. There's mods to be construction workers. There's mod to be bus drivers. There,
See,
anything your heart
that's the thing.
desires, you can do
You could
in.
still learn uh like even when you're big into gaming you could still learn things because I thought that the modding community, I thought everything that was going on, the big stuff, that people were playing was the GTA Online. I didn't know it was GTA 5 modded. So, and I'm being legit, like I because I knew the RP community is huge in GTA.
Mhm.
Huge whole servers, all that stuff. I knew that, but I didn't know it was GTA 5 modded. I thought it was through the GTA Online service, like
No,
just
that part they locked
heavily
down because
tweaked.
of all
Okay,
the crap you can buy from 2K
yeah,
themselves. Yeah.
okay.
So
I did
people
not know
mod
that.
the actual GTA 5 and then you connect to a third party, server to do your role
Yeah,
playing stuff into it.
I had no idea. I had no idea.
There can be
Like
truck
that's just how.
drivers. You can
Yep,
be
police
pilots.
officers, police officer. So again, I don't not trying to bring VTubers into things, but there is a whole event that the big company Hololive does at least the last couple of years where they do Holo GTA, and it's basically their Japanese branch, their Indonesian branch, and their EN branch all intermingle and even shows. And the reason why I'm even bringing this up is to show that it even branches languages, because a lot of the Japanese and English speaking VTubers in that company don't know the other's language, and they're still able to communicate and play together to where they're running, the police, they're running the hospitals, they're doing their whole RP community thing, and they're branching even the language barriers.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think we are missing one from the list that I don't know if it's just if it's modded or if it's just server based. But do you know anything about Rust? I know that Rust has a very big online community, but I don't know if it's modding. And if it's not modded, then I don't want to bring it up and be too deep
I
into it.
know very
I
little
just know
about Rust.
I know there's a very big RP community involved in Rust, but I don't know if there's modding. I guess you know what? We'll say I'm gonna save that for a topic for another day, where maybe we do a stream on just RP server based games like GTA, like Rust, etc. And then that could be its own little show topic of like big games that involve like RPing and whatnot.
Yeah. Cyberpunk 2077. Now
I
this
didn't know this
one,
game was modded either that much. I
this
knew there were
one,
mods for it.
yeah, this one and the last one, which I'm not going to spoil yet, but the developer is so pro modding that they made their
Mhm.
own mod kit so that people can throw whatever the hell they want into it and just go crazy with the kind of mods. So obviously you can change, you can different guns, different apparel, different cars. People I think have added in areas into the world of Cyberpunk
I'm not
2077.
surprised.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not surprised.
and that's the sad thing going forward is that CD Projekt Red is ending the Red engine, which is what the foundation of Cyberpunk is based on. So they're switching over to the Unreal Engine, which of course has its own modding community, but isn't as openly easy to mod that compared to what what CD Projekt Red has done with the Red engine,
Well,
the mod.
question, because Unreal 5 is fairly new, right? Like, didn't it just come out last year?
I think so, yeah.
So is it just maybe could it be just because Unreal 5 is still so new that there hasn't been a lot of time to really dive deep into the modding yet? Like, because
Well, so it's
Unreal 4
moddable.
was,
Like
I'm assuming
don't
Unreal 4 was big on
yeah.
modding.
Like the issue is I don't know if the developers have to unlock certain things to gain access
Mm,
to certain mods compared
on
to where like
That's
the Red
fair.
engine compared to I can't remember what engine that Take Two uses for Grand Theft Auto, but
Yeah, but the Red Engine, they built it so that it could easily be modded, I think.
yeah, they wanted to open up to the modding community, and
Yeah.
they were smart about it because that's how their game is going to survive. Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be a game that's going to be talked about for a very long time for its bad launch and also for its successful turnaround because it's one of the very few games that had a complete 180 turn to become as successful
There's only
as it has
three.
become.
There's only three that I can think of.
What's the other
There's only
two?
three that I can think of. Final Fantasy: A Realm Reborn,
Oh
the
yeah,
original
yeah,
Final Fantasy 14 was a bomb, and we thought it was going to go
yep.
away, and then they redid it to A Realm Reborn, and then uh little bit not Little Big Planet No Man's Sky.
Oh yeah, yeah,
No
yeah,
Man's Sky
yeah.
launch
That's
was
surprising as hell
terrible.
too.
Yep, and
There's like
it's
yearly
still
updates for
alive.
that. This is crazy.
Yeah, they
For a
they
free
do big
game,
updates for it still.
they don't
Exactly.
charge anyone. That's crazy.
They
Like
don't
they could make
know.
money
They
off that.
Absolutely, and it's still be and it's monumentally kind of was disappointing launch, and they stuck with it, and they promised to fix it, and they fixed it, and And I think that had to happen. That saved that company. I think that company probably wouldn't be around today if they had just released the game and fucked off.
Well, there's 16,000 people playing it at this very second on PC, and that's not including
I'm not
obviously
surprised.
the console versions
Console.
either.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Wow.
Speaking of a game that everyone plays or everyone's played except for people like Joe who won't play good games.
I have
Um,
played it. Correction, I have played it. I've
no,
not
you
played it
haven't.
with you.
You haven't played it really, like realistically. Like you haven't given it a real chance. Baldur's Gate 3, see, I know there's so here's the thing. I know there's mods for this game. I've even thought about getting a mod or two for this game just to allow the party size. My only complaint I've ever really had about Baldur's Gate 3 is that you're only allowed a party of 4. I feel like, especially anyone who's played the game knows that, especially later in the game, there's times where you get into fights where the amount of enemies that they throw at you is almost double, if not triple, what your party is. Because if you have a party of 4, you shouldn't be getting thrown 12 to 15 different enemies
You have
at
to be
you at
skilled,
one
man.
time.
Got to be skilled with those time-based
You're
or
not.
turn-based games.
You're not incorrect, but I still feel like a party of 5. I wouldn't go as far as to say you needed a party of 6, but considering there's 6 origin characters, it wouldn't have been bad to have a party of 6, so that way all 6 characters could, intermingle throughout the game without having to like go back to camp and whatnot. But I feel like a party of 5 would have been, would have allowed that perfect like aspect of maybe the one tanky type character, the one healer type character, and 2 or 3 DPS type characters. So like an off healer. But then again, I'm thinking with my MMO mentality. But again, I do know that there are mods that will allow you to have more members of your group, to spice some things up, to add certain things to the game. What do you know about the mods for Baldur's Gate?
Oh, there are so many different mods. I feel that Larian, this is going to be like, I feel this is the next Skyrim of games that's going to last for, a decade plus, simply
I hope
because of
so.
this modding community. Because Larian said they're done. They're done. There's no more DLCs. This is the end of the Baldur's Gate series, and they're moving on to something different. And
For
they're
them,
going out on
yes.
top, which is cool for them.
Yeah.
And they took them a
They
very
released
long
that
time to
big
get here.
they released that last big patch 8, which unlocked a ton of more content and modes. The cinema mode or the camera mode, where you
Hmm.
could get rid of the UI and you could pose your characters so that they could take pictures and screenshots. Adding a ton of subclasses, to the point where I was like disappointed that they didn't add some of the subclasses that I wanted when they added like some of the other subclasses that I wanted. I was like, damn, could you have gone one more? Couldn't you have added this subclass? No, but otherwise, like it instantly brought the game that I have almost 400 hours into and made the game fresh again to where I was like, oh, I can't wait to go back and play this subclass now of this thing. Even though the core story isn't going to change, like just adding some of the new subclasses to it is just enough to totally change the game, because then you can now take your 4 character party and have them all be completely different subclasses than the ones that were in the game, which gives it easily another 1 or 2 playthroughs, if not more.
As of this recording, 54,000 people are currently playing it, which makes it a top 25 game on PC
Yep.
on Steam right now, which is pretty impressive for a game that came out almost 2 years ago.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And I'll let you talk about the last game, even though it's a favorite of both of ours. I know it especially has a special place in your heart.
Yeah. Witcher 3. This is I've talked about it how many times? I talk about it on my Flight Sim stream. My wife and I talk about it pretty much weekly. We talked about it last week, but I'm going to the concert here in October of The Witcher 3.
Super jealous.
Yeah. But anyways, this game, the base vanilla game was good as it was. That's how I first played it and beat it. Which back on, did I do that on the PlayStation 4, I think. But anyways, I eventually got over to PC and played on the PC, and the modding community started building up. And the mods were so good that they took so many of these amazing mods, higher resolution textures and different ideas, whatever it be, and threw them into a brand new release that they gave away completely for free, which was like, I don't know, whatever they called it, the enhanced version or some crap. But again, they took all these mods, built it into the game themselves, and re-released the game for free for everyone to have access to these mods in the game without downloading all the mods, which is a brilliant idea because
Oh yeah.
now, like, I remember when I first got my OLED monitor here, and I was testing out different games, and I was like, I'm going to try out Witcher 3, which I know has really good HDR. And so my wife's next to me, and I turn it on or whatever, and she's like, "Oh my god! For the first time ever, I am jealous for something you have." And my wife isn't a
Yeah.
graphics person at all, but she's like, "Oh my gosh, it looks incredible!" And I was testing it the other day because I got this itch again about playing Witcher 3 because of the concert. And so I'm walking around, part of the world, and it's just like, holy crap. For a game that is a decade old, it looks incredible and holds up to a brand new release title that might have came out recently because of those mods. And that's how this community, or how the modding communities has affected this game. And going back to Cyberpunk, the reason why CD Projekt Red released the, what's it called, the Red Kit or something like that? The reason why they released the Red Kit was to make it easier for modders to mod these games. And on top of that, there's another update coming for Witcher 3 down the road. There's also a quest maker they released with that Red Kit,
Mm,
which means people can make brand new quests. Now, there won't be vocal quests, it would all be
crazy.
text based, but brand new quests, side quests that as the person, as a player, can jump into and explore, continue exploring the world of Witcher 3.
Does that take place during the game or maybe the after game, or does it
It
matter?
depends. Some mods have put it in so you have to beat the game first. Others have put it in where you just stumble upon this
See,
person.
that's brilliant to me because like the game is large, right? I remember. So I'm not going to get deep into my story, but I've mentioned it on the podcast before that this happened around Witcher 3 came out around the time my mom passed away. I went from being super excited about the game to not even being sure if I could play it. I definitely couldn't afford it because I had to reroute finances to take care of the some things. But your cousin Rob, your cousin Baz, um, basically gave me access to his account so that I could experience the game because of how excited I was originally. And I did. I played it for a good um I want to say 5 to 10 hours. Now, granted, that's not enough to really dive deep into the game, but I knew I instantly loved the game for what little time I put into the game. Now, here's the thing. I only did Act 1, and I hadn't even fully finished Act 1. I was getting to the point where it was telling me to go to Act 2, but I still had stuff I could do. And I hadn't fully explored the map because of how big Act 1's map is. So the fact that there are potentially mods that give you extra quests that you can do after the game is genius to me because now it can maybe make you push forward, skip some of the areas that you would normally take time to explore during the first act, get through the game, beat the game, and then come back to those areas now that and properly explore them because maybe you have a quest to go towards that area or whatever. So I just think it's brilliant that in a way it helps push you to maybe get on with the game because you have an opportunity now to come back later because of the new added like ability to add quests and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. I
Brilliant
think
to me.
Witcher 3 is going to be a game that's going to be super successful. Just like we were talking about earlier with other games. This is one that's going to
Yeah.
last, like Baldur's Gate 3. I feel it's going to last
I'm
way past its.
looking at our list of games that we've talked about today alone, and I honestly think that Baldur's Gate 3, obviously Skyrim. I mean, Skyrim's already been out for like 10 years plus, I think, at this point, or something like that, and it's still going to this day.
Skyrim's
Um,
been out for, doing math real quick, 14 years.
Okay, so it's been out 14 years, right? So, and the
And it's
fact that
still
it's still
super
relevant.
successful.
Exactly. So I think that game, I think Minecraft, I think The Sims, I think Grand Theft
23
Auto.
23,000 people right now are playing Skyrim on PC,
I'm I-
the special
I'm
edition.
gonna I'm gonna bunch CD Projekt Red in general
Yeah,
together and not just say Witcher 3 or Cyberpunk.
yeah,
But I think CD Projekt Red stuff, Baldur's Gate 3, Skyrim, and then maybe The Sims and Minecraft. I think those games are going to be a staple that's going to be around forever because of the modding community. These other games, I think, will come and go. Like they'll still have popularity. They still do things to this day, but I think that these core like games are going to always be around because of the modding community, because of how beloved these franchises are, and the modding is for them. I think when the graphics take another shift, down the road, there's going to be a new graphics update for Skyrim. I think there's going to be, when stuff gets more advanced, I think there's going to be an update for Minecraft
hmm
with more mod packs. I think the same thing for Baldur's Gate 3 if they start making it, when there's able to maybe fully generate another whole map or something down the line, where people are going to take the time and fully take like the game's like building blocks and somehow build another map. I think that'll happen. Obviously, GTA with their RP servers. I just think some of those games are gonna be, because of the modding community, gonna be around forever.
yeah. 100% agree. It's really cool to see some of these games be successful like this, and for people
Mhm.
to build a life around some of these games. I know so many people who do Minecraft, servers, who do Twitch streaming, and they build a community around that game and became friends with so many people. I've talked about it with my Flight Sim community. Like we've become really good friends, or I've become really good friends with many of Flight Sim community people, and it's cool to have those bonds within the community like that. So games are more than just games to many of people. For some people, it is just a time to hop into Call of Duty, relieve some stress by killing out some kid screaming at you. But for many, it's more than just a game.
Absolutely.
Anything else that we can add to this, Mark?
Not to the topic, no.
Cool. Well, as always, thanks everyone for listening, watching our live stream of Pixel Realms, and we'll see you again next week.
Yep. Be sure to join me if you think about it on twitch.tv/IsokaRPG. I did not put out a streaming schedule this week because I've got like appointments and whatnot that I have to go to and take care of. But I genuinely stream. Usually, I'm going to be streaming very shortly after this is over. I'll be streaming tomorrow for a little bit, probably Thursday, and then I also stream on Saturdays. So join me over there if you want to just hang out and watch me be a fool. And yeah, thank you all for watching as always. And